It all came to a head one summer night, when the lanterns swung low and the fair buzzed with whispers. Clay stood with dust on his boots, Emma in her red dress, and the world around them held its breath. Trouble came, jealous boys, a father's anger, the pull of two different worlds, and love was caught in the middle, trembling but unbroken. Folks said it was just a fair fling, just fireworks that fade, but hearts don't listen to reason and hearts don't forget. And that night, under the southern sky, love burned bright enough to be remembered in porch talk for years to come. That summer evening carried the smell of roasted corn and sweet lemonade. The county fair had just begun, and the fields outside town glowed with lantern light. Clay, a farm boy with sunburnt hands and boots that still had dust from the barn, walked slow through the fairgrounds. He wasn't looking for trouble. He wasn't looking for love either, but sometimes love finds you when you're not watching. Emma had just come in from the city with her friends. She wore a bright red dress, city shoes that clicked on the gravel, and her laughter rose above the music. Folks turned to look at her, not because she was loud, but because she carried herself like she belonged in a place far away. But her eyes seemed restless, like she was looking for something that wasn't in the flashing lights or the painted booths. Clay saw her when she leaned against the fence by the rodeo ring. She brushed her hair back and smiled at nothing in particular, and his chest tightened in a way he didn't understand. He told himself, "Don't go over there, Clay. Don't go talking to trouble." But his boots carried him anyway. "Evenin'," he said, voice low, like a man testing the wind. Emma tilted her head, eyes sparkling. "You from around here?" Clay nodded. "Born and raised." "You? City," she said with a small shrug. "I don't belong here." And right there, under the lanterns and the music, something began. A thread pulled tight between two worlds that weren't meant to meet, but had. Because fair lights fade, city shoes get dirty, and sometimes a boy with dust on his boots finds himself standing too close to a girl in red, and the world changes before he can stop it. The days rolled like wagon wheels, and each time Clay and Emma crossed paths, the story deepened. He taught her how to throw a ring at the bottle stand, steady and true. She laughed when he missed on purpose, just to see her smile. Folks at the fair started whispering, the country boy and the city girl, trouble waiting to happen. But they kept walking side by side, not caring about the stares. And yet, fairgrounds don't stay bright forever. The shadows started creeping in, jealous stares from local boys, warnings from Emma's friends who said, "This ain't your world." But when Clay caught Emma looking at the stars like she was lost in them, he knew he couldn't walk away. The fairgrounds smelled of fried pies and dust. Lanterns swung on wooden poles, and fiddles played songs older than the trees. Clay walked slow, his boots crunching the gravel, his hat tipped low to hide eyes that carried too many thoughts. He wasn't looking for anyone. He wasn't expecting anything. But that's how the big things in life sneak up on you. Quiet, like a storm rolling in without thunder first. Emma stood by the cotton candy stand, red dress catching the lantern light. Her city shoes looked out of place on the dirt road, but she didn't seem to notice. She laughed with her friends, the sound cutting through the fiddle tune, sharp as a bell. Clay stopped in his tracks. He had seen pretty girls before, but this one was different. She looked like she didn't belong, and yet she belonged more than anyone else. He told himself, "Keep walking, boy, keep walking." But his boots carried him closer, step by step. "Evenin'," he said, voice low, steady as creek water. Emma turned, studied him with curious eyes. "You from around here?" "Born and raised," Clay said. "You?" "City," she answered with a little smile. "And it shows, doesn't it?" Clay couldn't help but grin. Just a little. And right there, under the glow of lanterns and the buzz of fair laughter, something started. Something neither of them asked for, but both of them felt. It all came to a head one summer night, when the lanterns swung low and the fair buzzed with whispers. Clay stood with dust on his boots, Emma in her red dress, and the world around them held its breath. Trouble came, jealous boys, a father's anger, the pull of two different worlds, and love was caught in the middle, trembling but unbroken. Folks said it was just a fair fling, just fireworks that fade, but hearts don't listen to reason and hearts don't forget. And that night, under the southern sky, love burned bright enough to be remembered in porch talk for years to come. The second night of the fair was louder, brighter, busier. But Clay didn't notice much of it. Not after he saw Emma leaning by the fence again, tapping her fingers on the wood like she was drumming out a secret tune. He walked over without thinking. "You again," she teased, her smile soft but quick. "Guess so," he said. "Fair ain't much without someone to share it with." She raised an eyebrow. "Smooth talker. You practice that." Clay chuckled. "Out here, we don't practice. We just say what's true." They walked together, passing booths full of prizes, rides spinning under the summer sky. He showed her how to toss a horseshoe. She showed him how to dance without missing a beat. Laughter followed them like a trail, and whispers too. Folks said the country boy was walking with trouble. Folks said the city girl was playing with fire, but neither Clay nor Emma listened. When they stopped to watch the fireworks, Emma looked up, face glowing with each burst of color. Clay watched her, not the sky, and something heavy settled in his chest. Something he wasn't ready to name. By the third night, the whispers had grown. "Don't mess with her, Clay," his cousin warned. "She'll be gone by morning, and you'll be left holding an empty rope." Emma's friends said the same. "This is just a fair fling. Don't let it go further." But hearts don't listen to warnings. Hearts keep walking where they shouldn't. Clay found Emma by the lemonade stand, sipping slow, eyes wandering like she was looking for him. "You keep showing up," she said softly. "Maybe I can't help it," Clay admitted. Emma didn't answer right away. She just studied him, long and steady, like she was trying to read words written deep inside him. Finally, she said, "You're different." And Clay, without thinking, whispered back, "So are you." That night, they didn't need fireworks. The silence between them was enough. The fourth night brought trouble. A group of local boys, jealous and mean, cornered Clay near the game stalls. "You think you're special, 'cause you got the city girl looking at you?" one sneered. Clay said nothing, but his fists clenched. He wasn't a fighter by choice, but he wasn't the type to back down either. Emma saw the standoff from across the way. She hurried over, stepping between them, her red dress bright as a warning flag. "Stop," she said firmly, eyes flashing. "This isn't worth it." The boys grumbled, backed off, but not before spitting on the ground at Clay's boots. Emma turned to him, voice low. "You don't have to fight for me." Clay looked at her, steady as stone. "Maybe I don't, but I would." And right there, under the fair lights, Emma's heart stumbled in her chest. She didn't say it, but she knew this was no simple summer story. This was the kind that tangled your soul. The fair kept spinning, but Clay and Emma moved like they had their own world inside it. Every night they met. Every night they found a reason not to say goodbye. But Emma knew time was ticking. The city was calling her back, louder than the fiddles, sharper than the fireworks. She tried not to think about it. But one evening, as Clay walked her past the hay bales near the barn, she whispered, "I don't belong here." Clay stopped, his jaw tight. "You don't sound too sure." "I'm sure," she said quickly, then softer. "I think I'm sure." He looked at her like he could see right through the words, down to the fear underneath. "Then why do you keep coming back?" Emma didn't answer. Her silence was louder than the music, louder than the laughter floating from the fairground. Clay reached for her hand, rough and warm against her smooth fingers, and the answer hung there between them. Too big to name, too strong to fight. Trouble returned the next night, only bigger. One of the boys who had cornered Clay before, a tall one named Luke, decided he wouldn't let it slide. He saw Emma waiting by the Ferris wheel and swaggered up to her. "You sure you want to be seen with him?" Luke asked, voice oily. "He's just dirt under boots. You're city shine. You don't mix." Emma's lips tightened. "I decide who I'm seen with." Luke smirked, leaned closer. That was when Clay stepped in. His hand gripped Luke's shoulder hard enough to make the boy wince. "You got something to say, Clay growled. Say it to me. A crowd started forming, fairgoers sensing a fight. Emma pulled Clay's arm, whispering, Don't. But the look in his eyes said it was already too late. Luke shoved him. Clay shoved back. Fists almost flew. But just then, the sheriff's whistle cut through the night. Folks scattered, leaving only the echo of the warning. This ain't over. Emma was quiet after that. She and Clay sat by the fence under the stars, the fair music faint behind them. She traced circles on the wood with her finger. Why'd you risk it? She asked. Because he don't get to tell you what you deserve. Emma looked at him, her chest tight. Nobody in the city had ever spoken for her like that. Nobody had ever stood like a wall when she was about to be broken. I'm leaving soon, she whispered. You know that, don't you? I know, Clay said. His eyes didn't flinch, though his heart did. Then why? She stopped. Because some things are worth the hurt, he answered. And Emma, for the first time, felt her city world shaking under her feet. By the 7th night, Emma tried not to show up. She told herself she'd stay in, pack her things, laugh with her friends. But her feet betrayed her. They carried her down the dirt road, past the lanterns, right to the fair. And there he was, waiting. Thought you weren't coming, Clay said, his smile small but real. I thought so too, Emma whispered. They didn't need games that night. They didn't need fireworks or rides. They just walked, hand in hand, through the fairgrounds as if they owned every inch of it. People stared, but the stares no longer mattered. Still, the clock was ticking. The fair would end. The city would call. And the boy with dust on his boots would be left holding silence. The 8th night, rain fell. Not heavy, just a soft drizzle that made the lanterns glow like ghosts. Clay and Emma sat under the bleachers, listening to the patter. She leaned her head on his shoulder, and for the first time, neither of them spoke. Silence can be louder than words when it's the right kind. But Emma broke it at last. What happens when I leave? Clay's jaw tightened. He wanted to say you stay. He wanted to beg. But instead he said, then you leave. And I keep living. Emma lifted her head, staring at him. That easy? Clay met her eyes, steady as stone. Ain't easy at all. But I ain't gonna chain you. Not if you don't want to stay. And for the first time Emma cried. Not because of what he said, but because of what he didn't. The 9th night, the fair was at its loudest. Music spilled out of every corner. The Ferris wheel lights spinning like a crown against the dark sky. But Clay and Emma moved quiet through the noise. Like they were walking in a dream no one else could see. Her friends kept calling her back, waving, telling her she was missing out. But Emma didn't look their way. She only looked at Clay, his boots steady in the dirt, his eyes steady on her. You scare me, she said suddenly, her voice small. Clay stopped walking. Scare you how? Scare me, 'cause I feel too much when I'm with you. More than I should. More than makes sense. Clay's hand brushed hers. Slow, careful. Maybe it ain't supposed to make sense. The fair roared around them. Bells ringing, rides spinning, voices laughing. But all Emma heard was the beat of her own heart and the truth she couldn't name. By the 10th night, the fair was winding down. Fewer lanterns burned. Fewer voices carried through the air. That's when Emma's father showed up. He was a hard man, dressed sharp in a city suit. His shoes clean even on the dusty road. He looked Clay up and down, from hat to boots, and his jaw tightened. This the boy? He asked Emma. Emma stood still, her fingers cold. This is Clay. Her father turned to him. Stay away. She's leaving tomorrow. Don't make this harder than it is. Clay didn't flinch. With all due respect, sir, that ain't your call. The man's eyes narrowed. It's exactly my call. She's my daughter. Emma tried to speak, but her father grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the car. Clay's fists clenched at his sides, but Emma looked back, her eyes locking on his, wide with a silent plea. Don't fight. Not now. And just like that, the night ended in silence. The next day was the 11th day, and the fair was almost over. Emma's father kept her close, wouldn't let her drift too far. But Emma slipped away anyway, meeting Clay by the river that cut through the back of the fairgrounds. "You shouldn't have come," Clay whispered. "I had to," Emma said, breathless. "I couldn't leave without saying." She stopped, shaking her head. "I don't even know the words." Clay took her hands. "Then don't use words. Just stay here." Emma's chest ached. "I can't. You know I can't." Clay's voice dropped, low and heavy. "Then I'll carry this weight alone." Her tears came fast, but she kissed him anyway, quick and sharp, tasting of salt and summer. When they pulled apart, the river moved slow behind them, as if it knew it had just carried a secret too big to hold. The 12th night came like a storm even though the sky was clear. Emma's father had found out about the river meeting. He stormed through the fairgrounds, his voice cutting through the music, shouting her name. Folks stared. Emma's friends followed, whispering, while Clay stood off to the side, fists tight, eyes burning. When her father found her, his face was red. "We're leaving. Tonight." Emma tried to speak, but he shook his head. "No more of this. It ends here." She looked at Clay, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry." Clay wanted to run to her, wanted to fight, but his feet stayed rooted like an oak. He knew if he moved, if he made one wrong step, she'd be gone even faster. Emma was pulled toward the car, the fair music fading behind her. Her hand reached out once, last and desperate, but Clay didn't move. He only watched, heart cracking silent, as the car door closed and the tail lights vanished down the road. The fair kept spinning that night. The lights kept glowing. But for Clay, the world had gone dark. The 13th day came quiet. The fairgrounds were almost empty, rides being taken down, lanterns dimmed, laughter only a memory floating in the dust. Clay walked through it slow, hands in his pockets, boots heavy. The world felt hollow without her red dress flashing in the crowd, without her laugh rising above the fiddle tunes. Folks patted his shoulder, told him, "It was just summer. She'll be gone and you'll forget." But Clay didn't answer, because he knew some things don't get forgotten. Some things carve deep, deeper than time, deeper than forgetting. He stood by the fence where they had first spoken, stared at the spot like he could call her back with his eyes. But all he found was silence, broken only by the buzz of one tired lantern swinging in the wind. The 14th day he went to town. He told himself it was just to pick up supplies, but he walked past the bus stop, past the hotel where city folks stayed. He hoped, foolishly, hopelessly, that maybe she hadn't left yet. And then, like a dream he shouldn't have had, he saw her. Emma, standing by a car with her father, suitcase in hand. She saw him too. For one long moment the world stopped. Her father barked something, sharp and angry, but Emma didn't hear. She only heard her heartbeat and saw Clay standing there, still as stone, but eyes alive with everything he couldn't say. She wanted to run, wanted to break free, to fling herself into his arms and let the world burn. But she didn't move. Her father's hand gripped her elbow, the door opened, and the moment snapped. Clay tipped his hat, slow, like a man saying goodbye not with words, but with everything he had left inside. Emma's tears blurred her eyes, but she lifted her hand, small and trembling, and waved once before the car pulled away. The 15th day, the fair was gone. The fields were empty, the laughter carried away with the wind. Only trampled grass and scraps of paper remained, like ghosts of something beautiful. Clay sat on his porch, rocking slow, the creak of the wood the only music left. He thought about the way Emma laughed. He thought about the way she cried. He thought about the kiss by the river, and the way her hand reached for his even as the car door closed. Some loves don't stay. Some loves burn bright and vanish like fireworks in a summer sky. But even when the lights fade, the echo stays. The memory stays. The feeling stays, tucked deep in the heart, where time can't touch it. And so, Clay rocked on, night after night, boots by the door, dust on the floor, carrying her inside him like a secret the world would never take away. Because sometimes a boy with dirt on his boots and a girl in a red dress meet at a county fair. And though the fair ends, and the girl leaves, and the boy stays, What they shared lingers, like a story told on a southern porch, passed down, whispered, remembered, and the story ends, but the love never does.